All right, good to have you back. Yes, the show is Weekend Deal. Now, let's talk about something that seems to be trending, talking about goals. Now, it's the first day of the year, and there's no better time to talk about goal setting other than now. Now, if you haven't penciled down your goals, I think after this conversation, you will be thinking of doing all of that because we have an expert here to talk to us about goal setting for 2017. And help us welcome Mr. Emmanuel Otori. He's a public speaker and an inspirational writer. Thank you very much for coming.
Yes, it's really good to be here today.
And Happy New Year.
And I wish you the very best of it.
We wish you the very best too.
Thank you.
Now, let's start from the very beginning for clarity. What are goals?
Goals are a destination of choice. I would say that a goal is an end. So we're saying you're at point A and you're looking at going to Z. So what happens is you start to plan because there is a lot of process, there is a lot of journey that you have to pass through to get to point Z. So because goals are very important and I think that's what achieving. It's a good thing that we talk about goal setting today.
Interesting. And I know that things are usually created twice in life. The creation in your mind, for which is followed by the manifestation in reality. Now, what are the things you consider, before setting up a goal?
One of the things that I think we can actually consider before setting up a goal is that we have to be able to work on our philosophy. Lots of people talk about not achieving their goals because they do not have the resources, they do not have the right connection, and they do not have all the other things that they think will be useful in helping them reach this journey. And in my own life and in the life of very successful people who have been studying for more than 10 years, I have realized that one of the things they do is to work on their thoughts, your ability to be able to change your story. If you talk about the fact that the Nigerian economy is not good enough, so the picture you see becomes your reality. Nothing good comes from that same country that you say is not working for you. But despite the fact that they say the economy is not good enough, you say to yourself that it's a land full of opportunities. And that moment, you start to see the opportunities that you can begin to explore.
Okay, now, a lot of people I know set goals for themselves the past year, 2016. Now, most of them, I wouldn't say everybody, couldn't achieve what they set out to achieve in 2016. Would you say it's a case of misplaced priorities?
Yes, it could be a case of misplaced priorities. However, I also think that it's important that we commit ourselves deeply into the goals that we want to achieve. I understand one thing also, when you talk about priorities, when you have 3 priorities, then you don't have one. And here is what that means. Regardless of the number of lists of goals that you have in whatever year that you want to achieve, there are 2 most important goals on that list that you need to achieve that will have tremendous effect on the rest of the goals. What you should look out for are those 2 goals that if you achieve them will have impact on the other goals. And those are the areas where you should put in your effort, your time, and all your energy. So if you talk about misplaced priorities, yes, it's actually true. Some people might be working on the list of their goals, which will have no impact on the rest of their goals. So the important thing is to work on the 2 major goals among the list of goals that you've set for yourself that will help you reach your destination. I believe when you work on those goals, it will impact on the rest of your goals and you will become a great achiever.
So should it be written down? This is something, okay, you say you want to achieve this for 2017. Should I write it down?
Very important. In fact, the art of writing something down is what's called clarity. You don't want a situation where you're thinking about a lot of thoughts. An average human being has between 50,000 and 60,000 thoughts in a day, every single day. And most of those thoughts are negative thoughts. So it's important that we're able to sift out those thoughts that are useful to our personal development. So it's important to write it down. I would also say that most of the technology we have today has gone to the point of making it simple. If you can't make it clear and simple, then there is ambiguity. It means you don't really understand what you're setting for.
Okay, have you ever, encountered people who tend to live a passive life? They don't set goals and they just, live a meandering day-to-day, life. what is the implication of one not setting or not having a goal?
Yes, I have seen people in the course of my work and in the course of my consulting experience, people who talk about year after year, they say to themselves, I want to start a business. And for more than 3 or 5 years, they haven't even started this business. And at the end of the day, what I realize is that because we all have limited time on our plates, what they do is they start to regret. They start to experience regret because they have seen other people who set those same goals at the same time and are able to achieve it. And those people are living the best of their lives. And they look at themselves and they realize that they haven't done anything with themselves and they start to feel regret. In fact, we have also realized by research that such people start to experience mental imbalance.
So take us through the action plan. What are those little things, people need to do to attain their goals?
Most important that I will talk about today that's very important in helping us achieve our goals is what I call think big, start small.
Okay.
I've seen people and I ask them sometimes when they tell me they have this great business idea and they are very excited. And I ask them, what will it take cumulatively to start this great idea that you're telling me? And they tell me the figures, they're in millions. And I look at them and tell them that this very thing you want to start, you actually do not need a lot of money to start it. So while you're thinking big for the future, we need to think small for the present. What are the little things that I can do today that would make tomorrow count? And we should not forget that big things comes from the little things that we do today.
So what are those little things? What are those common mistakes people make?
One of the mistakes that people make that while they do not want to start as small as they should start is they overlook their resourcefulness. They do not look at their experience. And I would like to mention today that it is not what we do not have that limits us. It is what we have but do not know how to use. The moment we start looking inwards and knowing that we have very great skill, very great experience that we can put into writing, that we can produce for the masses to buy, that we can put out there in the marketplace to improve the quality of lives of the people, then we can begin to attract exactly what we want. Someone says he wants to be a writer and he's already thinking of doing a whole lot, having the best publishing house, forgetting that he needs to take his pen and write first before thinking of publishing. That if he doesn't have a script first, he cannot publish. So it's really important that we look at our resourcefulness first before talking about resources.
Interesting. And then, when you talk about achieving goals or goal setting generally, sometimes you have your goals set in motion and then you encounter some challenges that ordinarily you never thought about. Just like maybe you want to have just a baby and God, in a way, gives you like triplets.
Or quadruplets.
Okay.
Okay, how should people manage challenges like that?
It's normal, and I would say it's not unusual to have challenges and to have problems come our way. The reason why we have challenges and problems come our way is so we can do well with those challenges and become better persons. The moment we realize that those obstacles, those challenges could be an open door, it becomes easier for us to go over them and achieve them. And I tell you, challenges is actually what separates winners from losers. People who can achieve their goals and people who cannot achieve their goals. So we should see challenges as an open door rather than seeing it as an obstacle. Don't forget, you see whatever you become. So you have to see right the first time. And that talks about mindset first instead of eyesight. Eyesight is different from mindsight. When your mind can see mentally that this is an open door, your eyesight will want to come into the way and tell you this is not what reality is all about. But we can start changing our thoughts and we can begin to achieve the things we want the moment we start seeing it from our mind.
So which is more realistic, long-term goals or short-term goals?
Long-term goals, any day, anytime, anywhere, they're more realistic because
but you can't stop people from still having short-term goals.
Yes, you can't stop people. In fact, long-term goals and short-term goals, they have to work hand in hand.
Okay.
So like I talked about, moving from the point A to the point Z. It means that I have to set short-term goals today to pick a cab that will take me from point A. If I'm not picking a cab, what other method do I want to use? Am I trekking to that place? Am I using a bike? So I have to set those short-term goals, which are immediate now, to be able to achieve my long-term goal, which is not urgent.
So you're saying the approach is the same?
The approach to achieving any goal is actually the same, but the time is different. The time it takes you to prepare for a short-term goal is different from the time it takes you to prepare for a long-term goal.
Okay, now how does setting goals affect or impact a person's behavior?
One of the things that setting goals does to you is that it helps you to become that person in the future, despite the fact that your present hasn't changed. For example, I am looking at becoming maybe the president of an association of a country or whatever it is that I have set for myself. What it does for you is that you start having the behavior of that person you want to be. So that's what it does for you. It increases your value. So you now realize that if other people are walking along the streets and they're eating or having a snack, you cannot do that. Your behavior starts to change to conform to that person that you want to be.
Okay, so how can one track or analyze the progress made so far? Like, let's say before June this year, I want to achieve certain things. How can I track it to know if I'm making progress?
Yes, it's really important to measure our progress along the way so we will understand if we're on track or we're not. And it's important that every quarter we take a look at our goals and look at how well they're doing. How you can track your goal is to look at the milestones that you have set for yourself. How much of a percentage are you in line with reaching those milestones? And you know the very thing. If it's a matter of the mind, you understand by some indicators if you're on point. For example, someone who wants to be an actor or an actress and hasn't auditioned anywhere, how does he expect to actually become that famous actor or actress? It means he needs to prepare himself to be able to have advantage of that opportunity when it comes. But if his preparation is lacking, even when the opportunity comes, it will be hard for him to make use of it. So we understand your measurement from your preparation.
So is failure a setback? Is failure a setback or a push?
Failure is not a setback. Failure is a push if you learn from it. Failure is a setback if you do not learn from it. And I think that good judgment actually comes from bad decisions. When you have made a bad decision the first time and the second time, you will understand that because you have made a bad decision, you don't need to make it bad again. You need to make the right decision based on the fact that you have failed before. It is only the person who has failed that understands the importance of good judgment.
And from all you're saying, it's always very important to keep trying. If you try something and you fail, try again. You surely get a different result.
Definitely.
Now, talk to us about studying other people who have attained success in possibly in something that you have set out for yourself to achieve.
Some of the world's billionaires that are doing so well today in tech industry, I have realized that one of the things they do is that they dedicate themselves to lifelong learning. In fact, I heard that one of those very successful people, what they do is that he spent 18 hours in a day for a period of 5 years to build the innovation that we have today. And you see that that's not something that an average person will do. 18 hours in a day is a whole lot. In fact, I am thinking that lots of people will think that at that point in time, he was mad or something was wrong with him. But he understood where he was going. And he understands that if he needs to get to where he was going, he needs to do the things that are hard today. If we do the things that are hard today, our lives will be easy. If we do the things that are easy today, our lives will be hard. So we need to ask ourselves today, what are the things that other people will not want to do? I want to do those things that are hard today, so my life will be easy. I want to do the things today that other people will not do, so I can have tomorrow the things that other people would not have.
You know they say knowledge is power.
That's
You're an
correct.
inspirational writer. Now,
Yes.
looking at our society today, do you think people read inspirational books to motivate them, pursue their goals in life?
I think a lot of people read inspirational books to help them pursue their goals. And the reason is because you always need a reason to fall back on when you're at that point in time where you're facing lots of challenges and distractions. You realize that you've set a goal for yourself, but there are points where you don't really understand what's happening. You are in the middle of nowhere. You know you have a goal, but it seems as if everything is working against you. At that point, you need something to inspire you. You need something to tell you that a man who is successful today has passed through that same journey and he came out replenished. And you understand that if he had passed through that and he's successful today with his goals, it means you can also achieve your goals. So I think lots of people are reading inspirational books.
Okay, should one keep his or her goals to herself or himself, or should they share it with other people, communicate it to help them keep track?
Yes, I think that it depends on the person in question. Some people who are introverts, they might not want to share their goals because they think when they expose those goals to people, they're putting themselves in the middle of danger because people will keep asking them, what about that goal? Why haven't you achieved it? What about that recording deal you talked about? What have you done about it? And they might withdraw from that goal because it appears to them that they can't achieve that goal and it becomes a disgrace. But for the extrovert, there might be people who would even put out their goals out there because as other people keep asking them, it motivates them to take lots of action. For me, I put my goals out there. Whatever it is I want to achieve, I put it out there. And lots of people will say, well done, we know you will get there. I think the most important structure we have in the world today is a family. And when I put it out there and my family, they're aware of it, they tell me that I know that you can achieve that goal. And it makes me to go ahead and make those goals happen because I get the support from my family.
So on a final note, very briefly, we're out of time. How would you encourage Nigerians, this is a brand new year, on staying positive?
The only way to stay positive is to speak positive things. We need to stop saying that the Nigerian economy is bad. Nigeria has gold, Nigeria has oil, Nigeria has agric, and I also heard from the news and other reports that Nigeria has the highest number of medical professionals in the world. Then how can you say that that country is not good enough? For me, I am very interested and I think that I am grateful to my creator that I am a Nigerian. Nigeria is the best of the countries in the world and we need to start painting that picture for other people to see. The moment we start painting that picture, other people in the diaspora will come to see what we have. You saw what happened at the Calabar Carnival. Lots of people traveled from all over the world to Calabar. And Calabar, I heard from reports and research that they have the best butterfly in the world. But people are unaware of that fact. And today, I am glad I'm a Nigerian. We should go ahead, speak positive about Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Otori. Just listening to you, truly, I must confess, you are indeed a very good public speaker.
Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate the time to be on Weekend Deal. It's a great deal, and I ask lots of people out there to keep watching Weekend Deal.
Thank you very much. You heard it from Emmanuel Otori, and he said we should always think positively about Nigeria. But I ask you this question. Is what you are doing right now getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow? Let's go on a break. After that, it will be time for news.